It started off with a question. We asked ourselves, what would it be like if we can see God ignite the hearts of the younger generation throughout Asia to bring the gospel where there is no gospel witness in Asia and beyond? Movements that have changed the world have all started by young people. I shared this vision with over 1,800 people across Asia and the Middle East. And at Arise Asia, we had our first conference in 2023. And we witnessed God move hundreds of young people to give their lives to go cross-culturally to some unreached area of the world. And since then, we have been traveling from country to country, seeing Arise movements being launched all across Asia. Just like the Apostle Paul, who was a Jew but was called to be apostle to the Gentiles, we want young people to make it their godly ambition to be called to another people where Christ is not known and to go where there is no gospel. So what are the core values of Arise? A is aligning with God's heart and God's purposes for the nations. And when you capture God's heart for the nations and for tribes and for peoples in different tongues, all worshiping before the throne in Revelations, you will discover God's purpose is for lost people and lost nations, not just for your own people. And so our passions and sorrows are intertwined with God's, and it affects our purpose, our direction, and our values. The R in Arise, relinquishing our rights. And when we have lined our hearts with God's heart for the nations, we're able to surrender ourselves to His purposes. And we don't come with our own agenda, our own dreams, our own giftings, our desires, but we align ourselves with God's agenda, His dream, and His desires. And when we do that, our desires become interwoven with our Master's desires. And we are completely ready and available for His plan and His purpose for our lives. Then I means intimacy with God. And so intimacy gives us the direction and encouragement and purpose in life. And so God's path is different for each of us. And so we need to align and listen to God to discern what is His direction for our lives. This missionary journey is long and hard, and we firmly believe that we need to be being in the presence of God before we do. Evil forces are out there to stop us, to tempt us, to discourage, to even accuse us. And intimacy helps us to love amidst hate, to turn the cheek, to be faithful when we don't see immediate rewards, and to endure hardship with joy. S, sacrificial lifestyle. See, the areas of the world that need the gospel are not safe, they're not comfortable. These areas are extremely hostile, and some are under extreme poverty. Some missionaries who first came to Asia were martyred, especially when Christianity first entered and challenged the existing spiritual powers in that region. And a life on mission is sacrificial, is simplistic living, is suffering, and possibly martyrdom. However, our lives are some of the most rewarding, filled with purpose and significance. And when we co-labor with Christ to influence lives for eternity, we may not see our reward here on earth, for our rewards are in heaven, because people, tribes, languages, ethnicities will be there in eternity forever with God, because some of us from Arise Asia gave our lives to go. But finally, the last value is E, being empowered to go. And we need to boldly go with the Holy Spirit. This act itself can revive the church, and it can change your church, your community, your parents, your family and friends, and even elders and pastors will say, how is this possible? I grew up with this person. I grew up with them. I knew they're not qualified. They must be either crazy or maybe God really is real. Jesus followed the path of the cross, who came down from heaven to earth. He became a servant. He suffered. He was crucified, and He died for us. And we are challenging you to follow in the footsteps of Jesus Christ. We have one life, one challenge. Go to where there is no gospel.